Hey, what's up YouTube? It's me, Whiskey Hotel, and you were looking at a game of Black Ops 2 on Yemen, playing Kill Confirm. That's my go-to game type, if you didn't know. I start out with the Remington, but I eventually switched to the MP7, and this is a ridiculous game. This might be my highest KD in any Black Ops game. I haven't actively been keeping track of that kind of stuff, but what I really want to talk about today is gun control, and it has been a hot topic the last couple months, and typically I don't feel the need to express myself on buzz topics like this, because that's typically what they are, is that something happens, and in this case the something is the Sandy Hook shooting, and people want to argue and talk about it for a few weeks and then they let it go. But this doesn't seem to be going away. This tragedy, and that's what it was, is so bad that it's not going away this time. What happened was so uncomprehendable that people aren't going to let it go. And then recently in the YouTube community, FPS Russia's manager was killed. There was an incident with that. If you don't know the story, FPS Russia's manager was abducted, tied to a chair, and shot in the back of the head. Really, even saying those words doesn't even seem real. It's, by most people's theories, it was done by a group that is actually anti-gun, or depending on how you look at it, pro-gun control. And to prove a point about how guns kill, they chose to abduct someone responsible for an entertainment program that is pro-gun. And that doesn't even seem real. That seems like a plot to a movie or something. And what makes it even weirder is that it's YouTube only really matters to people that consider themselves part of the YouTube community. It's really strange when something from YouTube makes its way into mainstream media, because it's real life is colliding with YouTube, which doesn't always seem like real life. It seems like a hobby, or just something stupid that you do, oh, I like to watch internet videos. But then somebody gets shot in the head and it seems a lot more real. So I want to say or explain how I feel about guns and how guns should be regulated, because that has been the topic of discussion, is that do we in this country, the United States, need more regulation on our guns? Would that help curb incidences such as the Sandy Hook or the Batman shooting, or way back in Columbine, or anything like that? Would more policies affect that? Because that's always the big question. There's always a big call for action after something like this. And that's, in my opinion, a frustrating thing about this country, is that we have always had this bipartisan system in which one side always disagrees with the other side. And even though, sorry, I lost my train of thought, but they will both use the same incident to try and further their agenda. They'll both put their own twist on it to make it seem like their side is right. In this case, the pro-gun people are saying that if everyone was armed, this wouldn't happen, because as soon as someone started shooting, they would start shooting back. Right away there's a flaw in that logic, because if you don't see the original guy start shooting, you're going to walk into an incident where everyone is just shooting each other, and you're not going to know who the bad guy was. But I move on anyway. That's what they want. And then the anti-gun, pro-gun control people are saying that if we made guns harder to get, specifically for the mentally ill, which I agree with, that shouldn't ever be possible, or if we go back to banning the assault rifles, it would curb things like this, and they would happen a lot less often. And first off, I want to say is kudos to Norway, because a while back, it was quite a while ago now, one guy went on a rampage and killed, I think it was something around 90 people. And when this happened, it was a unbelievable tragedy. A lot of those 90 people were children, much like the Sandy Hook incident. And in Norway, there was never the same call for action. Like, the people in Norway have a much more unified vision of what they want their country to be than we do in the United States. They, as a majority, were not willing to compromise their way of life for additional security and more policies. They understood that that was the actions of one extremely disturbed individual, and they moved past it. Major difference between Norway and the United States. But anyway, I will get to my main point here. I live in Montana. Montana is an extremely red state. We like guns, we like small government, we like to hunt, all that shit. So this is the environment that I've grown up in. I've been familiar with guns for most of my life. I'm not afraid of guns, and I understand the need for guns because of that. Like, I am not under the impression that guns should be explicitly banned, and that is what the extreme right wing tends to try and fearmonger. They want people to think that more legislation on guns means that every gun will be taken from every house, and I simply don't think that's possible because it's in our Constitution that you can have them. What I do disagree with them on that is that we don't need to have certain guns. Like, I understand that you like hunting rifles to hunt, and you like whatever weapon you may choose for self-defense. You like the ability to protect your family, and I should mention that I myself have a Smith & Wesson 9mm handgun, and I have a .22 rifle. I don't even know what brand it is. I just use that thing for like shooting cans and fucking around. But the pistol is for self-defense. I keep it in my room. I take it camping. If animals want to get shitty with me, I'll pump some lead into them. Never happened, I should add. But I personally don't hunt, but I understand that people like to hunt. They like to be able to get their own food, provide for their families, and then they like to protect their families. Now, there's two other reasons that people like to have guns. They like to, well, I shouldn't say they like to have guns. There's two other reasons in my mind to own guns: to target shoot and to kill, really. And I should lump in with kill, like do crime and stuff, because it's all the same. I'll just say crime. And there are certain types of guns in my head that have legitimate purposes. A shotgun can shoot birds. It can defend yourself. A pistol, mostly for target shooting, defending yourself. A hunting rifle, target shooting, defending yourself, hunting. But then we fall into the category of assault rifles, and most people will say they're not assault rifles, they're civilian versions of assault rifles, but I completely disagree. They are the same gun with a different firing mechanism, and if you ask me, semi-automatic is a more efficient firing mechanism than automatic, because if you want to take down targets efficiently, you do not spray, you do controlled bursts, and semi-automatic is perfect for that. So to me, it's almost more frightening that they are semi-automatic. But assault rifles, in my mind, only have two purposes. You can't hunt with them, and they're not efficient for self-defense. What you can use an assault rifle for is efficient killing on a large scale and target shooting. And to me, the fact that those are the only two options frighten me, because a assault rifle is just as efficient as a handgun at killing one person. But if you want to kill a lot of targets, an assault rifle is much, much better at it. And that's terrifying to me, because I don't see the need why someone would opt to have an assault rifle over a handgun if they're talking about self-defense. So, to me, that is where gun control needs to change, is that we don't need assault rifles as a country. I understand people's unwillingness to compromise on that because they've had them, and they think that it's a right to have them, but it's really not. Nowhere does it say that you are allowed to own like crazy efficient killing machines designed for destruction on a large scale. You can have guns as long as those guns have a purpose. And while you may like to have them, it doesn't mean that that should be how it is. Just like I would like to be able to go 100 miles an hour everywhere I go, but I don't do it because for public safety and the greater good, I shouldn't be allowed to go 100 miles an hour. Just like you shouldn't be able to have efficient killing machines with a lot of bullets in them. And that's my opinion. I like guns if they have a purpose. Feel free to start a flame war in the comment section below, I should say. And I will see you next time. Later, dudes.